Hello, welcome to Melanin and Albinoid Live. I am Lady Abimbola. Today, Monday, it's actually Monday the 23rd. I hope I'm correct. The 23rd of March 2020. Today is the third week of being quarantined. The national quarantine has been for 3 weeks now, and it was actually planned that it's going to be till the 3rd of April, but it has been actually shifted a little bit forward to the 15th of April, so basically to the middle of April. And even the 15th of April is not a fixed and a final date. It's still subject to change. Well, today I'm just going to I try to come out once a week to get some things, because as usual, for people not to hoard, but I don't think people are really hoarding food here, or maybe they are, but I think in a logical way. Well, I try to buy perishable and non-perishable food, and of course, I also have a blog where Lady Abimbola Online, my health and lifestyle blog, which actually forces me to buy continuously perishable food, veggies and fruits, because I make juices and I make things, for the health. Well, because of that, I have to at least once a week I have to be out in the shops to get some things, and that's where I'm going right now. And then of course I come back, but in the interim, while I'm out, I seize the opportunity to vlog a little bit and probably to ask questions. And while I'm on my way, I prefer to walk also. That's will give me, you've been quarantined at home, you're not doing anything. This is the time all these famous people that have basketballs in their house, swimming pools and things, this is the time they really enjoy it, because they have everything. They have cinemas at home, they have everything at home. So basically they will just turn their house into a small village or something like that, where they have access to everything that they would have probably gotten going outside. Well, for those of us who are in residence that, we don't have all this, though my residence has a swimming pool, sauna, golf court, and things like that, but well, I don't think anybody's in the state of mind to use all those things, apart from the fact that it's still cold, So anyway, today while we're walking, my normal thing is that I, try to, give some information based on what is happening generally, about this virus going haywire. As I said, and I think I've mentioned the difference between virus and bacteria. So that's why I'm actually, really trying to reflect and think what really, is this situation that it cannot be contained, that lorries are taking bodies of people, cemeteries are becoming over congested, mortuaries the same thing, hospitals are busting out, and every corner is used to take care of patients, but they don't even have enough space. And while all these things is going on right before our eyes, the medical practitioners, they're still sustaining the fact that they don't have a cure to this. Well, I've been in Europe. I'm a 48-year-old woman, and I've been in Europe all my adult life. And one thing that I have noticed is that it's a land that there's so much acting going on. And when I mean acting, I don't mean acting a play, for financial purposes. I mean real life drama, where you can go to a bar, you find people coming, they can come as a couple, they can come even as a family, but they're just there for a purpose. They're not there because of you. I'm not saying everything totally is like that, but most of it actually is like that. Most of it. So it's a society of make-believe. If you understand what I mean, a society of make-believe. A society, they talk and talk and talk, but there's always an agenda, a plan behind the empty talks, and the acting is actually to mislead people from understanding the truth, the truth of that particular time and the purpose behind what is happening. I explained to you based on my knowledge, based on my little knowledge on science, and because since I'm into natural healing, natural sustenance for the health, I don't believe in orthodox medicine. I don't believe in synthetic pills and all those things. And since I don't believe in it, I try to study as much as possible herbs, fruits, and all those things. Nature, let me just put it that way. And as I go closer to nature, I also have to understand what provokes disease and all those things. You see, the heart of man is desperately wicked and totally deceptive. And the real truth here is that I use the word what provokes diseases and viruses. In creation, God created the whole world, and He created a perfect being. After He created and He rested, He said, He looked at His creation and He said He has made something perfect. And it was made in His image and likeness to start with. I've never heard that God was sick or God felt sick, so He's hospitalized, or right now He's resting, and because He's a little bit sick, so He can't answer our prayers, or He can't do this, or He can't lift a finger, or whatever. I've never heard about that. And we have been made in the image and the likeness of our God. But one thing as human beings we cease to understand, because I do believe that, as I said, what is in the spiritual realms control what is in the physical realms. So in the spiritual realm, God's arch enemy, Satan, who has always been in competition with Almighty Elohim, the Almighty I am that I am. He has had this enmity and hatred because he wants a position he does not deserve. He wants a position that belongs to God Almighty. Well, he has carried his envy not only inside himself, he has carried it over and begin to manipulate human beings the way he has manipulated the angels against God, and placed them in a position to turn them against the Creator God. So right now, he has done the same thing to the human race, and you find some that actually believes in his bullcrap stories. Well, believing in their bullcrap, in Satan's bullcrap stories, I don't believe he has actually manipulated anybody or convinced anybody, in an easy way. I believe what he has done this far is the normal mind control. That's why you see the gang stalking program, the racist system, and all this program I am against, and I believe so many people also, is created to place people in a position of vulnerability, a position of weakness, where they can be easily demonized, where they can be easily taken advantage of, where they can be easily subject themselves to the reign of the Antichrist. Poverty is man-made. Sicknesses is man-made. All this toxic environment, wars, rumors of wars, they're all man-made. But man-made in the sense that, not that they made it particularly, man-made in the sense that they have actually submitted themselves to the evil genius behind them, which is Satan himself. Satan himself is the one that plants all those things in hell, and all the humanistic agents that subject themselves to his authority or his power, his evil power. Those are the ones that carry out all those things. In the medical field, the ones that have sold their soul to Satan, of course, they function contrary to God's will and only to the authority and the order of Satan. The one in the educational field, though education is one of the institutions meant to build every human, but Satan has strategically placed all his agents, those ones in the educational field, instead of educating, informing children that have been molded mentally to have direction, to have focus, to be successful in the right way, people are being miseducated and influenced for their destruction and the destruction of the society. Well, in the churches where you feel the final straw of a form of direction, most are actually subject. You can see everywhere is totally empty. Let me just do a 360 like I usually do. You can see everywhere is empty, nobody is around. So while I'm just going, I just talk, so that at least instead of just carrying camera around, I just talk. So anyway, as I was saying, so basically we have, all this destructive projects that has been created for the destruction of humanity. Poverty didn't really do as much as they want, because even in poverty, organizations are created, some by them, and some also a sincere organization that fits, the ones that have been forced into a position of economical limitation. So, sickness, of course, is another position of vulnerability where people will feel weak, they can't defend themselves, they can't do anything, because when you're sick, you have to depend on people, nurses, doctors, and people close by, because physically and morally that person actually does not have enough strength or energy to do anything for themselves. So the position we find ourselves right now takes me particularly to the Bible to understand some references that actually God explained to us that is happening concerning, there is a tree there, and so that God has explained to us as a human race, references to so many scriptures concerning the last days. Apart from the book of Revelation, the book of Isaiah, we also have so many books in the Old and New Testament that explain so many things to us. Let's go to the book of Moses, the book of Exodus. In the book of Exodus, chapter 11, there's something that triggers my attention. And the thing that triggers my attention is in the book of Exodus, the Passover night. As a child of the Most High God, as I said I think the first week of this quarantine, that only they that know that God will be strong and do exploit in these last days. You think you're a choir, you think you're a leader in the church, you think you're an usher, you think you have one position, elder, whatever. You see, position is also just a deception from darkness. You see, the true Christians will be known in these last days, in this period. This is time you will know who is who, and who has a heart for God and who does not. This is the time we know all the acting Christians. The acting Christians are just the actors in the body of Christ. And as I said, this actually should pull people more to God, because man will exceed their limit of wickedness, subjecting themselves to the forces of darkness. But God will get to his limit where it turns his anger and his wrath on humanity. They created Ebola. God gave a wonderful Nigerian doctor, the female doctor that took care of the Liberian zero patient that took Ebola to Nigeria. In the process, her life was taken also because she contracted the virus also. But at least she found solution, and she's forever remembered for that. May her soul rest in peace. They've tried all kind of crazy disease, viruses, biological weapon. Now guns are too expensive because you buy bullets, you have rifle, you have bazooka, you have all kind of things, explosives. But those ones, you need lorries to carry them from one place to the other, and if they're exhausted, you need more plane to carry them in and things like that. Well, the evil genius thought about the best way: biological weapon, which can do actually more damage to humanity than any other physical weapon. Always the spiritual and the unseen weapons are the most dangerous weapon. Plagues is written in the book of Revelation. It's also in the book of Exodus. And after God repeatedly told Pharaoh to let his people go, and he repeatedly refused, then God says, okay, now this is the situation of forces. You choose not to obey me as Almighty God and succumb to the forces of darkness. I will show you who is in control. God hardened his heart. Then the 10th and the final plague, Moses went to Pharaoh. At that particular time, Pharaoh had to tell him to let his people go. But God had in his heart. You see, when God has had enough of attack on his people, he's not a God of partial deliverance. He's a God of total deliverance. They've created gang stalking program to psychologically destroy people, emotionally destroy people, physically destroy people, financially destroy people. It's a program of lies and deception, so much deception. They've created a system, the racist system. the racism system actually is actually created. It's created to destroy the melanin race, God's own people. But as they proceed in all these programs, all the systems, all this evil, deception, lies, incriminating people, sabotaging people's work, forcing people into poverty, into homelessness, stealing people's property, abusing power, then you begin to think the craziness is beyond human comprehension. As they proceed with the craziness, God watches. If you look at the book of Exodus, it's a book where God demonstrated his patience and the fact that he separates his children from the children of destruction. We can be 10,000 people here, and if you have just 100 Christians that are really for God, God knows those ones, and because of those ones, he can get into anything, just like Paul and Silas. He gets into a locked prison. He doesn't need a key to open any door. It's God all by himself. So in the book of Exodus, when he told Pharaoh told him to go away, that Moses should go away, and all this whatever attached to him, they should get away. Okay, God had in his heart, he was boiling. He knew he didn't want them. He did not want them to be free, but he knew that whichever force is behind these people, I've had enough of his hunger, and because of that, he's releasing them, but he's not totally, willfully convinced he wants to let them go. It's in the plan of God. So God said, don't worry, even with this, my final plague will still come on them. But what I want you to do as my children, tell the children of Israel to get a lamb about a year old, pure, without any kind of deformity. Maybe it's crippled, maybe it's deformed, or pure lamb. And when they get that, according to the household and things like that, you can read it to know all the other details. And he got the lamb. They all got the lamb, and instructed them, when they kill the lamb, put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost of your houses. Splash it on the doorpost of your houses. And when you do that, you also heat the lamb with bread and bitter herbs. While this is done, you can see today the train are still cancelled. You can see arrivals, they are totally cancelled, and this is departure is cancelled. There's no train, there are still buses, very few, around, but there are no trains. But I'm walking anyway, because that also being at home and doing nothing, with this I can at least do some exercise and walk maybe a few kilometers and something. I'm okay. And also I can blog and everything. Anyway, because I love nature anyway. So anyway, when he said they should kill the lamb and put the blood on the doorpost, he said they should heat the lamb. But he instructed them, if the feast is supposed to be the Passover, then the feast of the unleavened bread, they should eat the meat, and they should eat the meat with unleavened bread. When they eat the meat, he said nothing should be left till the next morning. That if they eat and they are filled up, they should throw the others into the fire. They shouldn't throw it away where a dog or anything can eat it, but into the fire. That means they should burn it because it's a sacrifice. They eat the ones they can eat, and the others should be thrown away. So this was exactly what they did. But one thing that caught my attention is that he also mentioned to them, when they do that and while they're eating, they should keep their sandals on. Like today I'm putting on sandals. You can see. Today I'm putting on sandals, though it's a little bit cold, but the sun is out, so, well, I'm just going to go out and come back very fast. So, basically, he said they should put on their sandals. While they put on their sandals, he said they should also guide their loins. Guiding? Sì? Buongiorno.
Deve prendere il treno lei?
No, devo andare a prendere qualcosa da spesa.
La prossima volta faccio il ciclo pedonale dall'altra parte, la stazione è chiusa.
Ah, ok, non sapevo. Non sapevo comunque. Ok. So anyway, he's just saying that the station is closed, but well, I don't see the nonsense he's talking about. Anyway, so as I was saying, maybe that's another form of harassment now, whatever. So anyway, as I was saying, hold on, I have to pick up the phone. Sei pronto? Sì? No, mi sono uscita per prendere qualcosa. Perché? Ok, c'è qualcosa? Va bene, ok, va bene, ciao. So, no, they just called me at the residence. So, anyway, basically, when he told them about the thing they're supposed to do, they should guide their loins, put on the sandals, and have their staff with them. Normally, when they have, okay, I think there's another shop there. Let me see if I can get what I want from that one. So when they pack their stuff, it said they should, when they pack their stuff, it said they should go stay in the house until morning. But they should also, before that, they should go and borrow things from the Egyptians. So therefore, what God is saying is that, you see, you have people stealing from people that, that has nothing. You have people oppressing. You see the abuse of power by authorities. You see all kind of things going on. You see all kind of things. Abuse, intimidation, sexual molestation, incriminating people, this biological weapon to destroy people, to make people sick. All kind of craziness is going. But most of us, we cry out as if God does not see. You see, when God does something, against evil, it gives enough chance for them to repent. And if they do not, that's actually when it steps in with aggression. Okay. So I just made a deviation because I told you I'm doing some buying one or two things, and I had to close. So anyway, I believe I was talking about it's past 30 minutes, I think, so I've lost touch with what I was saying, but I believe I was saying something about the book of Exodus and the departure of the children of Israel. So basically, God made them understand in Exodus 11 that 11 and 12 that He separates His children. He knows, God doesn't really need to paint your head red or paint your head blue. That okay, you are His child. You are, you have a blue head. No. He knows His own children. He can identify them, without any mistaking them for anything else. He sees what happened. He sees the oppression. He sees the attack. He sees the harassment. He sees the evil in the world, and he knows how to easily separate his children and help them, assist them, and bring them out of the captivity of the evil one. The Bible says Satan goes around roaring like a roaring lion, looking for whom to devour. It's a clear evidence that certain people he cannot devour. It's clear evidence that there are certain people, no matter what he does to them, he cannot devour. We know the situation of Moses. We know the situation of people like Elijah. It was not devoured. Even death did not have the last say over his life. But, as I usually say, backed by the scriptures in the book of Daniel, only them that know their God will be strong and will do exploit. So you can see all the shops. I like that bicycle. It's 2,580. My God. So anyway, the situation right now, comparing the scriptures, the situation right now is comparing the scriptures with what is happening now to understand the fact that the hand of God is in this. I'm not saying it's God that made the virus or anything like that. I'm just saying his hand is in this, in the sense that it's very thought-provoking when you know that the epidemic that started from a nation, China to be precise, now they are healed, the whole world is sick. Well, it's something that I will say that is thought-provoking. You started the situation, the epidemic started from you. The whole world got infected, global infection. It becomes a pandemic because the epidemic you refuse to reveal in time. Well, if that was an intentional thing because they want to cover up or whatever, or because it's just an intentional thing for them to be quiet until it has spread globally. Is it possible that this is an intentional pandemic? Well, by now you should know me. Well, Jesus is Lord. Now China is healed, the whole world is sick. Italy, one of the countries, probably they had a nonchalant attitude about it at the initial stage, thinking nothing can be done to thinking that nothing can be done about stopping this thing from not spreading. It has spread all over the world, all over the globe. Every country is affected, but the Chinese people who are actually involved in this situation now came to Italy that is badly affected. Like a doctor said, an Italian doctor, the explosion in the sense that at the initial stage when it started, they had a nonchalant attitude about it and probably thought it was a distant situation, that they don't need to panic because they don't want to lose their independence, they don't want to lose whatever they are actually already used to doing, until it became this uncontrollable situation. Now the death rate is far more than the death rate in China. And just like I explained in my last video, in the second week, the end of the second week, I had to do 2 videos in the second week. The end of the 2 videos that actually we saw people, the highest rate of death in Italy. We saw the highest rate of death in Italy, and they're still lost on how to control or how to do anything about it. People are indoors, we don't know, maybe they're indoors or maybe they're sick in the hospitals. There's no movement. You don't see people in the balcony. You can see, you don't see people in the balcony. You don't see people in the balcony. You don't see, I mean, even if you're locked in, you should be in the balcony. Like, I'm in the residence. Sometimes I come out to the open space to sit in the sun. I have a pouch in front that I can sit and, you know, when I wash my clothes, I put it outside. I kind of, you know, I still do movement in the open, not just closed indoors. But you can see most people, they're not even outside, you know. So the situation is that we over here, in the irony of the whole thing, in Europe, in, you know, all over the globe, where this thing has badly afflicted people, but in all those things, I see the hand of God. I see the hand of God. The last days, yeah, we know things will happen. Wars, rumors of wars, epidemic, pandemic, things will happen. Plagues will happen. When plagues are involved, there are plagues that things that are man-made. There are plagues that God allowed. Because if God did not want to allow this, He will not allow it. He will allow whoever is behind this to be found out before. But if He allows it, it's because He's going to use it for the good, even of His children. I heard that some politicians actually sold their stock, and before the pandemic started spreading like wildfire. When you have individuals selling stock because they knew the stock market will crash, and the stock market with all the situation, of course, has crashed right now. So you understand that these individuals knew this would happen, and because if they didn't know, like most people that didn't know, the stock market, has crashed, and after crashing, people have lost hundreds, thousands, and millions of money, of their currency, and the ones that knew about the situation, they've already sold their stock, and they were able to get back their money, and even in a very higher rate. Well, in all this, what I just want to say in all this is that this is not a normal virus. This is something that has been planned. But God, in His infinite mercy, will continuously take care of their own people. God, in His infinite mercy, rebuke the devourer for the sake of His own people. God, in His own mercy, will lift up a standard against the devourer. If you don't know God, I believe being self-quarantined, it's a rude awakening. You remember segregation. You remember the gang stalking program when they isolate people away from people, where they blackball people from the society, where they force people into joblessness, where they sabotage people's work, where they publicly humiliate and make desperate innocent people. Please forgive me for this word I want to say as a Christian. Payback is a bitch. The self-quarantine, what has it does? Most people are at home right now. So you know how it is to be without a work. You have hands, you have legs, you have intellect, you have profession, you have experiences, you have things, but you are quarantined at home. That's how it feels to live a life where you have everything it takes to succeed, but you are forced, segregated. You're segregated. You're forced into unemployment, not because you don't want to work, because some entities think they have the power to create the world the way they want it to be. They believe they have the power to actually say who succeeds and who does not. They think they have the power to actually control who eats and who starves to death. They believe they have the power to make who they make homeless and who they have a roof, than those that have roof over their head. Well, God is not a man. God is not a man. His words will surely come to pass. He will never ever change. God is not a man. God is not a man. It's not a man. Now you're at home, all the perpetrators, the gang stalking perpetrators, for all the from all the gang stalking perpetrators, for all the, let me see first before. For all the gang stalking perpetrators. Sorry, I'm looking for a coin for the shopping cart. Okay, just hang on. Okay, so we're in the supermarket now.